Hey guys, this is our book for this week. It is a nonfiction text about earthworms, so let's get started. This is our table of contents. If you look on page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it tells you right here what will be covered on those pages. So, starting with page 1, gross. Do earthworms look gross? Yes. I think most people would agree, but what you might not know is just how fascinating they are. Earthworms are an essential element of keeping our soil healthy and prepared for plants, trees, and vegetables to grow. Have you ever wondered why some days you see tons of earthworms on the sidewalks and other days you don't see them at all? Have you ever been curious about how earthworms move, or rather they have live babies? How do earthworms help our soil? If you keep reading, you will learn the answers to these questions and many more. Their body. Most earthworms are a reddish-brown color and have long, segmented bodies. The most fascinating feature of a worm is actually their lack of one. What do I mean by this? Earthworms don't have eyes. They do have cells on their skin that sense light and when they move away from the light. If you think about it, eyes wouldn't be particularly useful when you spend the majority of your life in the dark. Just think of other animals like moles that live underground. The eyes they have are very small and weak. The earthworm doesn't have lungs either. It absorbs air through its skin. This is why their skin is so thin and must be kept moist at all times. Predators. As you can see from the photograph, birds love to eat most kinds of worms. Robins specifically love earthworms. Worms are an easy meal for birds to transport to their young up in their nests. Other creatures that eat earthworms are ones that spend a lot of time in the dirt, like insects, amphibians, and reptiles. If you see a big hole in your yard, it could be the result of a cocoon or fox hunting for an earthworm dinner. You also may already know that many humans see earthworms for fishing bait. The worms will stay alive and move underwater, which attracts the fish to the hook. The popularity for using worms as bait is partly due to being able to go into the backyard and dig them up for free. Young. If you look closely at the picture, you can see earthworm cocoons holding warm eggs. It's going to be these right here. At first, cocoons are like a liquid, but they quickly harden. While inside the cocoon, the eggs are protected and receive all the nutrients they need to develop. After 2 to 4 weeks, they will hatch from the cocoon. Earthworms take about 3 to 6 months to mature before they begin producing their own cocoons for young worms. Worms that live near the surface have more baby worms at a time than those that live deep in the soil. If you assume this is because the worms near the surface are more likely to be eaten by predators, then you are correct. Movement. Worms do not have legs or arms to help them move through the tunnels or on the surface of the dirt. Their bodies are covered in tiny bristles that they use like tiny little anchors in the dirt. When they squeeze their muscles, the bristles help them pull themselves through the dirt. Worms love damp, but not soaking wet loose soil. This type of dirt is easier for them to move through. Have you ever wondered why you see so many worms after it rains? A common myth is that their tunnels are full of water and they can't breathe. But since worms don't have lungs, being underwater is not harmful for them. They do prefer to come out after rain because it's the only time that the sun doesn't completely dehydrate them. Worms prefer to find their mates above ground. Regeneration. Here is another fact about worms that has a lot of myths surrounding it. If a worm is split in two, it will not grow as two separate worms. What will happen is that the side of the worm that has the head may continue to live and regrow its tail. The head is on the side of the tail where the swollen part is the closest to. You can tell that the tail of an earthworm has been regenerated or regrown if the tail is slightly lighter in color and thinner than the rest of the worm. Why you want them? As an earthworm travels through the dirt, he eats and then leaves behind nutrients that make the soil rich and better for growing plants and vegetables. The tunnels of the earthworm also allow the dirt to soak up water. More water in the soil is beneficial for 2 reasons. It allows water to get to the roots of trees deep in the earth, and it also aerates the ground. Aerate means to make holes that allow for oxygen to get in. The looser soil allows for roots to grow deeper so that trees are stronger. Overall, it is extremely important to allow earthworms to live in your yards and gardens. See now, they aren't so gross after all, are they? And here's our glossary for words to help us understand the meaning. Absorb means to soak up or drink up liquid. Bristles are thin, stiff hairs of an animal, kind of like a hairbrush bristle, or like a porcupine bristles, or I can't think of another animal right now that has bristles. Dehydrate means to dry out all of the water of something. So when you're super hot, your mouth kind of gets dry and your skin gets really dry. So that means it's dehydrated. Segmented means to divide into different parts. We know this from when we segmented shapes. Think about that. And transport, to carry from one place to another. All right, guys, that is it for our story today, or for our book today. What I need you to do now is go do your worksheet for earthworms and make sure you seesaw it to me when you're done.